Hello, and welcome to Spirit Island Saturdays, the weekly Spirit Island game. I almost screwed up the intro. Welcome to Spirit Island Saturdays, where we play Spirit Island on Saturday. Handelabra believes in civil rights for everyone and in being as inclusive as possible, so any comments or activity actively working against those goals are not welcome and will not be tolerated. You can follow us at Handelabra Games on Twitch and Handelabra on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. You can follow me personally at Logic Dolphin on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, YouTube, pretty much any avenue. Sentinels of the Multiverse, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island are all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices, and you can find more information on those games at handelabra.com. So this is a weird Spirit Island Saturdays because people kind of dropped last minute. So it's just going to be an impromptu Logic solo. And you might also notice that my webcam's not on. And that's mostly because, and it's not because I'm not feeling up to having a webcam, but it's more just that it looks weird because I'm wearing a green shirt right now. Hello, this is Logic Dolphin wearing a green shirt right now. So, yeah, it turns out that with a green screen, wearing a green shirt is kind of a bad idea. Unfortunately, green's also my favorite color, so you might notice the conundrum when I like wearing green shirts and I put a green screen on. So I could leave it like this and then have a big, nasty green backdrop going on the screen, or I could do this and we have a weird face of Logic Dolphin, or I just turn it off altogether and we ignore that distraction, and that's also totally fine. So yeah, it's going to be Spirit Island Logic solo today, and I'm kind of in a tough spot right now because I was planning on, so let me back up a step. On Monday on my Dolphins dive, I started an attempt on 12 waves. And I got through 6 waves, and I decided to cut it off there, do a halvesy there, and do the second half to be continued on the next Monday of Dolphins Dive, because it was about 3.5 hours into the stream, and I still needed to write a test for my class the next day. So I opted to do a to be continued there. As the result, I have a resume game over here. That's wave number 7. That was going to do on Monday. So now the conundrum is, since I'm doing solo Spirit Island today for Spirit Island Saturdays, I have no choice but to pick up with this game, otherwise I lose it forever. If we were to do multiplayer, John told me that multiplayer is independent, or at least it doesn't even have a save continue there, as far as I know. So that would have been fine, but everyone else dropped out, and so I have no choice but to do wave 7. It's totally fine. I'm not like upset about that. It's just more like for people that only watch Dolphins Dive, which I don't know if there's anyone that only watches Dolphins Dive, but for only people that only watch Spirit Island Saturdays, now you're just gonna have this really weird, you know, I'm starting from wave 7 game. But if you want to see the other part of it, you can go watch Dolphins Dive on YouTube. I believe actually Krista literally just uploaded this week's Dolphins Dive to YouTube. It was, yeah, this morning at 10:08, Dolphins Dive number 240. So if you want to see the first 6 waves, go check out Dolphins Dive number 240. So the way that I do second wave, we have events. We do not have an adversary, because I'm not doing adversary leveling up second wave shenanigans. John does that sometimes, I don't. But I go with whatever spirit the game gives me at any moment. And right now I am Bringer. And the Dahan are all focused on the coast, and they did a Sands Explorer, which is really bad because the only Blight that we have on the board is in D4. I did a really good job of cleaning up Blight in the previous game. But, yeah, now they're going to go build into D4, and it's going to pose great problems. So couple of options I have here. Could go for the broke approach of doing Call on Midnight Streams and Dreams of the Dahan into D4. That gives me 4 Dahan, 4 energy. Which would be fine. I don't know that I can prevent both D4 and D7, but D4 has the Blight in it already, so we would want to prevent D4 if possible, plus if it has a million Dahan, then we can counterattack into Ravage and stuff. And if we do put 4 Dahan in there, it's easier to counterattack, of course. We do have our usual Dread Apparitions to provide defend per fear. So if I can get, like, my innate up, I can get 3 fear into that land, so 3 defend. So I guess it depends, like, on what the major will be. So let's just go for the broke approach. Let's do energy track for the easier elements. Also, so it helps us get fear next turn. And I guess that's what we do. So since we'll be revealing a fear card and that's the point of no return, it's imperative that we get the things that... I guess I'll do that after the fear card. Not that it matters at all. Let's see, fear card. Fear card says each player removes an explorer town from a land with disease. There's no disease on the board, so that's not useful right now unless the major power gets that for us. All right, so before we lose elements, let's generate the fear and then gather the Dahan. So I gather out of D2 because that's going to be a lot that we need to deal with. Whereas D3 might be less to deal with, but it's still gonna build a city. I don't know. It has a beast. Maybe the beast helps out with the D2. And then let's do that thing. Gain a major. Okay, Winds of Rust is really good for next turn. Unrelenting Growth is ridiculous. We don't have a presence in jungle for jungle hungers. Twisted Flowers. Let's put a Strife. And it generates 4 fear, which is a lot of fear in a single spirit game. But strifing the city in D4 does mean that that Ravage is defended with the other thing. We'd have to do, well, we play Twisted Flowers this turn, but then we can do Dread Apparitions next turn. It does cost 5 energy. But, like, I haven't gained the energy yet, right? Yeah, so I would be getting 4 energy. I play this, I got 3. I gain 2 next turn, so I'd be able to play that. And it's reasonable. It does give a moon and air. So... Hello, Voseros. How you doing? It gives a moon and air, so it's good for later, like, you know, element gathering. And it's lots of fear, which means we accelerate this game faster, which means that we finish the game before we die. Is there any reason to want to consider an alternative, though? Winds of Rust, I wouldn't want to play this turn. I could replace the town in D4, but... like, if I were to use Winds of Rust, I would hope to be able to defend, like, D4 and D7, I guess. But... yeah, that's not really gonna help. Of course, I could take Unrelenting Growth for super fast, ridiculous Bringer Growth, and I could play it pretty much every turn very easily. Because once I get to 4 energy next turn, it's like, it's over, right? I would get 2 energy, or 2 presence this turn, I get to 4 energy next turn, I do Unrelenting for another 2 presence or something. I guess I wouldn't go for any, I go for 3 card plays at that point. So... I think it's Twisted Flowers. Its remove works for Bowden, true. Remove 2 invaders, bypasses the whole we can't destroy invaders thing. Atrophy makes you happy for some reason. I mean, there was someone ages ago that we proceeded to basically make fun of ever since that said that Winds of Rust is an instant click whenever you see it, because it's like range 3 Sacred Site is super easy to get, and it provides defend and also town replacements, and like what else could you need? Its threshold is a repeat, so you can do it twice. I don't know that it's really the instant click though. Like, I think Twisted Flowers does more here. And they are exploring wetlands next. Yeah, this is the part of second wave when we get into wave 7. Maybe not wave 7 as much, just whenever there's towns in like... Yeah, starting from wave 6 when you have towns in 1. And also wave 7 is also there's a town in 6, but that's not relevant right now. But all these starter towns means that the invaders start with a super big... that's the problem there, isn't it? One thing I missed is that I need a sacred site. I pulled a Seamus here. I pulled a Seamus here. Okay. So I guess then what I can do instead... I could strife the city in D7, but I'm probably not defending it. Am I getting a miner next turn? Maybe? By reclaiming Twisted Flowers? It's slow is the problem. I'm not wrong. I don't think the other options are better for this, right? Because, like... Yeah, the other two wouldn't have really helped that much. I would have been able to prevent a city build in D4, but I still would have needed to reclaim Winds of Rest for D4 after all. So if I'm getting a power next turn, I'd probably go for Miner because Miner deck has more defense, I think. Maybe? I don't know. Defend is primarily a minor power thing. Major powers are more like super deep offense. Twisted Flowers and Winds of Rest and Atrophy are kind of counterexamples to that. I mean, that's not 100% true. I could take another major. Like if I find defend per Dahan cards, damage per Dahan cards, that would help a lot with D4. Predatory Nightmares isn't going to be doing that much in this game. The problem with going for the major is that if I'm still playing Dread Apparitions, it has to be a 3 energy major. And naively, I think the average cost is 4 for a major. Terrifying Nightmares, would that be helpful? It would just stop a build, basically. More moons. We're not going to have that. I also wouldn't provide the defend because it doesn't push the cities, right? It would just basically stop a build in D1 or D3, which is okay, but it's not providing towards the defense front. I mean, the only thing that makes sense is to strife the city, I guess. But it's kind of silly because, like, if I'm not defending that land, then that's not doing anything. And we know the fear card says remove a thing from a land with disease, but we don't have disease. We're getting another fear, most likely. Unless we don't play an animal. In which case we're not guaranteed to get that fear. But we get a fear here, right? And we also get this. Yeah, so we do get another fear card. If we level this up, or one explorer from an inland land that doesn't do anything, still doesn't defend D7. So yeah, right now, because like the island would be blighting, I guess. And the blight card is the aid from lesser spirits, where you take a minor power and you treat it as if you've played it every turn. Definitely helpful for elements, of course, but considering we spent so much effort in wave 6 cleaning the board of blight, we probably don't want to lose all the blight. Sorry, we don't want to put Blight back on the board, especially because the next spirit's going to have issues like, you know, surviving. So I think I have to go for another major. Vigor of the Breaking Dawn almost works, except I didn't strife the city in D4. I mean, Vigor of the Breaking Dawn does 1,000,000 damage in D4. And because I don't actually destroy the things, I get 3 fear, 5 fear? Do I get 5 fear for cities? Holy smokes. I'm getting 7 fear from D4. So that does give us like 2 more fear cards. Actually, no, it is enough defend, because Dread Apparitions plus Vigor, because I generate fear from killing the city and town, and that adds the defend in D4. It does make D7 sad. But preventing this cascade is so much more important than preventing this blight. I know I put the strife on the city, but we could still hope that like one of the other the event card or a fear card says defend in a sacred site or something. I don't know. It's gonna be Vigor. And it does combo with Dreams of the Dahan since this gathers and then I do damage per Dahan. So I'm gonna forget Predatory Nightmares and next turn I reclaim. Do I need sacred sites? If I'm reclaiming next turn, then I'm probably gonna have to like do Vigor and Dread Apparitions again. I'm not gonna have enough energy for that though, am I? I like to live dangerously. It's not it's not a question of like, it's a question of need. Like, you're saying that I'm doing this like because I like it? No. I'm saying it because I have no freaking choice. I have no say in the matter. So the only thing to consider is like, I guess like, okay, so I can generate fear in a land that I'm in. That's really the only thing that cares about range. Other than, of course, Sacred Site for the other power. Twisted Flowers requires Sacred Site visibility, so I could do Sacred Site in D4 to increase visibility, plus I am losing the Sacred Site in D7 if nothing else comes out of what I'm doing, so I'm gonna do this so I still have a Sacred Site on the board. And I don't know what the next fear card is. Do I have to push? I do. Damn. Like, you guys can stay. You guys can stay, it's fine. Oh, well. Alright, missionaries arrive. Aided by sun. Am I forced? I'm not forced. I could forget Vigor. Okay. So... add disease to a land with city, 2 fear per player. During the next normal ravaged cities do +3 damage. And then beasts destroy an explorer. That's actually really powerful because the 1 fear card we do know says we can remove 3 health of invaders from a land with disease. So what we could do is have D7 defended. The major problem with that is that I have to forget a card that has sun on it because I don't have enough energy to accomplish this. So, what is more important? Twisted Flowers or Vigor of the Breaking Dawn? I think it's pretty important to put that disease down, knowing the fear card. Plus this gives us another 2 fear, which gives us another fear card. So yes, we're always cursing the tongues. So this is like slightly better elements, and it does generate more fear. This was fun for this turn. And it's gonna be fun for next turn as well, right? Like, I could potentially just, like, win the game next turn by generating a million fear in D3. I'm getting 7 fear in D3 by pushing Dawn into there and then doing damage. It's not defend, though. So I will still have a city left over, though. The +3 damage doesn't matter because D4 is defended and D7 the city is strafed. But yeah, like, the city dies to the Dahan, so I get another 2 fear. So that'd be 11 fear away from the next terror level. But I'm only generating, like, I'm only generating 7 fear if I do the things for that. So that generates fear, but only if I do the fear option instead, which I don't want to do. Like, that seems greedy, but like, you can never really go wrong with millions of fear, right? Disease is not a source of invaders. That doesn't mean anything. Explorer doesn't affect coastal, doesn't mean anything. Defend 2 in all lands. Okay. Gather and explore a town into a coastal land, defend 2 in all coastal lands. Alright, that's actually fairly decent. So I don't get a city in D1 or D3, but we want the city in D3. So I'm 9 fear away from... I think I forgot to include the 2 fear from the event card. So I'm 9 fear away from Terra level 3. Yeah, so they didn't explore D2. Yay. I have 3 powers right now. Wish I could place a presence. If I could place for the moon, then I would be able to generate enough fear. I'm gonna click miner again. This doesn't actually destroy Explorer Dahan. And your powers would destroy... Sorry, your powers never cause damage, nor can they destroy anything other than your own presence. And I learned the hard way that if you do cast down with Threshold, your presence is still destroyed on the board that you do cast down on. So yeah, Razor Sharp Undergrowth like does like defend a little more in D3, except for the fact that I'm not doing as much in there. And then like D1 is just still a problem. So I can like not gather 2 Dahan into D3, and I can just do Razor Sharp Undergrowth. The Explorer gets pushed, is what that destroy means. Defend 2 is not a lot, but then when I do Vigor in D3, I push the town out with the damage. So I only generate 2 fear with Vigor. But then D3 is defended. I don't really like that. I want the fear. Go big or go home on the fear, right? Use 1 slow power as if it were fast. Call to Bloodshed. I guess, well, no, I'm not playing Call to Bloodshed in D3, right? It does combo with Vigor, but I need an extra sun to hit the threshold. And if I'm playing Vigor and Call to Bloodshed, then I'm not getting my innate moons, which means I'm not gaining an element that I have at least one of. I'm gonna take this. And we'll just super beat up D3, I guess. Nah, I'm not playing that this turn though, right? I'm doing this instead. With the Millions of Fear? I don't know. Oh, we did get to Terra level 3. Yay. For some reason I thought I needed more fear. Oh, because I was thinking I needed a third fear card. But I didn't. Invaders do +3 damage when ravaging and lands with presence. Not a thing. The event card did a thing. Choose a different land with chosen lands. Gather up to 2 Dahan, then 1 damage per Dahan present. Nice. Alright, what was the other part of the event card? Each spirit with at least 3 Dahan among all its lands may use a slow power down instead of later. I like that this is cutting off the later. Is that how that card is in print? I for some reason doubt it. Did I report this? Maybe it is intentional, I don't know. So obviously I can gather everything into D3 to kill the city there. I could just also do 2 damage in D1 to kill the town. You think the vine border was added? Yeah, I don't know. I have not played enough physical Spirit Island to be able to tell you what cards look like on the tabletop. We do get an extra fear either way if I do the damage in D1 or in D3. And we need how much fear to win the game? We need 9 fear. The thing is, D3 already takes care of itself. And the extra fear card could just say Strife a City and land with Dahan or something. So I'm just gonna touch D1. Remove an explorer town from any land. I will stop the city here, I guess. Skip the next normal build. The build card shifts left as usual. Okay, so D6 is taken care of. Yay! We do get the Blight in D3, but that's fine. So what if I were to reclaim and then do Vigor into D2? The major issue with that is that they are ravaging D2. It actually would have been better if that was a Terra level 2. I mean, that fear card was always going to be at Terra level 3. But it would have been actually slightly better as a 2 effect, because the 2 effect build card would have remained in place and we wouldn't have had a Ravage this turn. Kind of weird, because like the 3 effects are both synonymous and incongruent with each other at the same time. I guess like 1 and 3 are closest. On 1, you skip, like, you do half of the build. On 3, you skip the full build. And on 2, the build is postponed. I guess it says skip the next normal build, but that basically means it's postponed because it stays in place. So, like, the build still happens, but 1 turn later. Now, granted, that is fine because you could then, like, have an extra round to deal with the things in that land before they build. But yeah, so like my temptation is to do basically what we just did, but in D2. The main problem is there aren't Dahan in D2 right now. This only gathers 2. I mean, like, we win the game by getting 6 more fear, though, right? And a city is 5 fear. And we just get that by playing those 2 cards, right? I get fear in D7 with my innate, and I get 5 fear killing the city in D2. So, alright, so we win with only 1 extra blight on the board. And I think that's acceptable. All migrate would have been nicer a second ago. The delayed build also doubles the delayed ravage, yeah. But the assumption is that you would still, like, you would prevent the build from happening more easily. I mean, you still have, like, the normal explore that you now have to deal with, but you do have that 1 turn off from that ravage, which means that you can focus your actions on preventing builds instead of dealing with blight, which might mean that you don't have to have as many builds. But if you're playing a spirits that can't stop builds very easily, then, like, if you're playing as a serpent, because you don't have innate, like, explorer, like, innate ways of dealing with explorers, you can deal with towns more easily than explorers innately. All right, we're at 36 points. 36 is the new high score. Good job, Serpent. Good job, Bringer. I was trying to say Serpent because they're just talking about Serpent. Yeah, so we lost the Dahan and gained a Blight and also a disease in D7. I'll set aside Vigor. That's fine. And I guess we'll just spread the Dahan amongst the blighted lands in hopes of event cards that help with that. We are playing as green. I'd always go with whatever spirit it gives me. Yes, Wildfire is still in the mix. That's totally fine. I see no problems with that whatsoever. Sands Explorer. Damn. Okay, that's going to be really dangerous. Sands have historically been bad in the second wave because those were the lands that, like, Keeper could not remove Blight from, and then we kept passing the buck to the next spirit to deal with. And the river game, we managed to reach a point where we could stabilize, which resulted in us just passing the game off for like an hour. Waiting until we found blight removal cards, and we won on the last possible fast phase. Okay, so, like, if I do middle growth, do extra presence, I'm playing by myself, so I can't actually do, like, proliferate on myself. Main problem with that is I would need energy to do that, which I guess I take 1 energy off the top, and I do gift of proliferation to do presence into, like, D4. D7 is disease, so it doesn't build there. If it blights, then it's okay because it's not cascading. D4 we would like to prevent at least the build, and then if we can defend the ravage, that would also be okay. I mean, potentially we could also just push the town in D7. Unless I need waters or something. These are water cards. I can defend 2 into D4 maybe. And let the Dahan kill the town. Unless the event is the Jeff Dugan event that converts a singleton Dahan next to a city, which would be this one. The other thing to consider is, can I kill the city in D4 if I prevent the build? If I do gift the proliferation and stem the flow... I would need a sacred site, so I'd have to use my jungle wetland presence to make a sacred site in one of these 2 lands. Probably D6, because I need the sacred site for defend also. And then if I did these 2 powers next turn, then I won't have this defend because I don't have the plant. Because I can get the plant there, but then I don't have enough card plays. So D7 might just blight still. But I guess D4 would have been blighting still regardless because I wouldn't have had to defend next turn anyway. I mean, how many presences am I putting down? I guess I'm not accounting for all the presences I'm putting down. I guess I'm assuming I'm doing 1 per turn, but that's wrong, right? I have 2 here, 1 here, and then 1 next turn. Possibly 2. Actually, if I'm doing overgrow, it's 2. So I'm at 5 presents. So it's important that I get to 2 card plays by the 4th presence, though. Yeah, so I think I can kill that town in D4. Prevent the build. Kill the town. Next turn defend D7, I guess. What I mean is I need to get to this by next turn, which I'm proliferating, and then I'm going to do my jungle wetland presence. So I'll have 2 presents next turn, and I'm definitely getting to 5. Like, I'll have placed 5 presents by next turn, which is 2.5 across 2 turns. I wasn't saying I'm doing 5 presents this turn. Just I need to place the 5th. Or this has to be the 4th presence I place. Or, sorry, this has to be the 4th presence I place in order for it to work. Can I actually... I can actually afford this if I do middle growth option, in which case I can just keep going up this track. It doesn't seem like a good plan though. Okay. Prevent. Assert dominance. Prevent. They're going in the wetlands. Ask me if I care. So D4 could still blight pending the event is the problem. And that is a bad cascade. But it's only like 1,000,000% that happens, right? We didn't see heavy farming in this game. Cool. Sometimes it might be useful to see this event card and be like, oh yeah, the Jeff Dugan event already occurred, so I don't need to worry about that anymore. Also, this blights if they do convert the Dahan to a town, but that's basically also pending the event type of scenario. I mean, what I could do, but with like complete disregard for my own energy, is to do middle growth again. Prevent the build in D3 and D1. I can do all of those. Prevent cities. I can only like defend one of them though. And then next turn my energy's pretty screwed. I'll be at 2 energy though. My cards, like, I don't have to play Overgrow. I can just proliferate instead. I'm sure that's fine. I'm sure that's fine. What's the worst that happens? I die? I don't know if I want that plant, but I'll go for it. I have to play Overgrow for elements so that I can get all-enveloping greens defend. I'm not sure if that's what we were talking about. I mean, I can get the 2 card plays next turn. Like, anyway, I'll just do that. And I have elements. Like, I don't have to play Overgrow next turn because I could just do Proliferate for 1 energy and still place a presence that way. I can't play both Proliferate and Overgrow. Right, but I can prevent those 2 builds, and then, like, theoretically our Ravages are fine. Inland land, replace Explore with Town. Well, that doesn't solve the Ravages now, does it? Each player may push an Explorer town from a land with Dahan. Okay. Yeah, so the 2 lands they're targeting are the 2 lands that are barely defended. But we can push a thing from a land with Dahan, which we could use to prevent a city build instead of just destroying a presence. But since, like, we're trying to prevent the blight, I guess, I'm just gonna convert this guy. And then I'm gonna push him into D2. Which isn't really ideal, but standard rule of thumb is to always centralize all invaders into 1 land. 1 big problem is better than a million scattered problems. Alright, so D5 is a lane that we're not going to really be able to solve. I can push the town. It's a thought. I have 1 damage. I will assert dominance. Yes, I could. Yeah, prevent the city in D5. So, like, one thing to consider is that, like, mountains are actually slightly better for buildings to be. Actually, Stem to Flow is weird because it's very counter to Green's standard presences in jungle and wetlands. So it kind of rewards you for putting things in mountains and sands. On the other hand, things in mountains and sands are harder to prevent. But I definitely don't want the city in D5 because I'm not growing into there because I have to do a Proliferate to prevent a Ravage somewhere. I mean, I guess I'm not proliferating to prevent a Ravage, actually. But, I mean, the problem is my Sacred Sites are not in good spots, right? So I can't defend and proliferate, like, the 2 different lands, right? Like, if I proliferate into D3 and then I defend D3... Or, sorry, if I do my jungle wetland growth into D3, and then I do my defend into D3... then I don't have the sacred site in D1 to prevent the ravage unless I do an extra presence from card play. So I will have to play proliferate or overgrow. I'm just gonna push this guy, prevent that city. I could instead let the city build. Okay, hold on. Let's think about this for a bit more. If I push the town out of D1, that's potentially solved pending the event. So I could instead proliferate into D5. Which doesn't seem that great, but... Can I do proliferate and stem the flow or something? Proliferate doesn't give me... Or sorry, the stem the flow doesn't give me an extra move. If I had the repeat, that would be really nice, because I could kill the city in D5 that way. I think I'll just stick with my original plan. And then the minor power I get might make me change my mind. Let's do this first, because that determines what I do next. Moon and water are at a premium. So Twilight Fog is moon and water. It's not as many plants, but we do have our 2 innate plants, so our need for plant is more mitigated. I may use 1 slow power as if it were fast. I don't think that really changes much. It lets me do Fields Choked or Stem the Flow or the Creeper's Terror, but that's not really gonna prevent the things from happening. Twilight Fog, if I were to play it, which I guess the question is, what am I playing besides like Gift Proliferation? I guess a water card for the defend that we needed, so it could be Proliferate, or sorry, it could be Twilight Fog, it could be Sky Stretches, it could be Fields Choked, it could be Stem the Flow. +3 range for coastal lands is not really that good when my coastal lands are all wetlands and jungle, and those are the lands I have easiest access to. I think I'm gonna take Twilight Fog. It's free, and it has elements. I'll do this one. They're like the exact same, right? Other than this generates fear sometimes. But we need the presence this turn. So I'll save the one that could generate fear. And it also costs more. Both of these become less good when all my presence on my presence track is placed, because they don't take destroyed presence, because it's only during growth that I can use destroyed presence. But this card still works for fear. And 3 fear is a really good amount of fear in a single player game. This does give me 3P here, I just noticed that. So I get defend 2 and I get 2 sets of Creeper's Terror. Unfortunately, I don't really have a good place for Creeper's Terror. I guess D6. I would like to have a presence in D5, but I need the Sacred Site in D3 and D1. So I guess it's just gonna be used on D6. So both of these. So let's defend this one. It's bladed, and if we need to prevent the ravage, we still can. And I'll proliferate myself into this land. Let's do that. +1 damage and ravaging. Okay, so in that case, I prevent both ravages. Coastal Explorer. Fun times. So since they are doing Coastal Explorer, and since we couldn't kill the towns in D1 and D3, kind of prudent to kill them now. One of them, that is. D8 is the only land that's never going to have a town at the start. 7 and 8, I guess, as well. 7, I think, had... Yeah, it has a town from the setup, from the board setup. But 8 is the only land that doesn't start with a town, so that could blight and be okay. The Dahan removed the blight in D3, by the way, if you missed that. That's nice. Both of these are sort of equivalent. It's this one... I don't know. I really don't know. Both about the same. But this can blight. That's okay. We'll prevent D5's blight. If I play my hand, I only get 1 moon. I would kind of like to do extra presence this turn to prevent the wetlands builds. Again, D2 is a problem. It was always going to be a problem. We knew that was going to be the case. It became a big problem once upon a time. I can push the Dahan out though, right? So I can save those Dahan at least. I guess I do have Stem the Flow. So it does do a damage to a town. Those lands are not mountains or sands, so Stem the Flow is bad for that. But I can play my hand. I'm just gonna go this way. Yeah, and I'll do Destroyed Presence here because I'm already hitting 3 card plays this turn with the +1 play, so I might as well do this. Because I'm doing an Overgrow, and those only work off of the Presence tracks, so it's better to, I guess, let those do Presence tracks, especially if I don't need those extra card plays. Oh yeah, and that's defended, so I don't have to worry about that. Cool. And it's super defended, actually. Okay. I can at least prevent the Ravage in D2, right? Sort of. Yeah, sort of. Hated by Moon, I have 2 energy and 1 Moon. I do get a refund from offerings. I would have to forget a moon card, though. I guess now's an opportunity to ditch Gift of Proliferation because it's not going to be that useful for that much longer. This is the last presence in my base track, and it could be hit with Overgrow. Add Disease to a land with both Dahan and Invaders and do 2 damage to Dahan there. So we could do it in D1 or D3. Probably. Eh. Our plan was to prevent the builds, I guess, with the presence. But we could prevent it with the disease instead. If it is fast, add disease, or sorry, add blight to a land with buildings. And then this goes back under the top 2 cards. Like, transmute doesn't really do that much. It gives me a fear and a beasts. But the advantage of transmute is that you don't get the potential blight and also the return of this card in 3 turns, but there is an argument to be said that if you know this is the event card you're getting in 3 turns, then you can plan around it. That said, you're never going to remember that in 3 turns from now. We're also kind of not making progress in this, are we? Because we're not generating fear, because we're preventing ravages. So knowing that there's 2 explorers in D1 and D3, I have to do more work in those lands. Get you there. I didn't even have a choice for D3. Didn't let me destroy that presence. I couldn't preserve the disease even if I wanted to. I guess that might just be how that works. I don't know. Get out of here. Baby's first fear card. Alright, I'm at 6 energy. Holy smokes. Let's just ditch Overgrow. Or something, I don't know. Ah, Pyroclastic Flow. That's how we deal with everything, especially since I have no presence in mountains. I would actually be able to hit the threshold on Twisted Flowers if I don't forget Overgrow. But I also can't afford to play Overgrow and Twisted Flowers. I find that exceptionally rude. The temptation is sea monsters. I mean, it would only really... I guess it adds a piece. It can deal 6 damage in D2 in the slow phase. But it doesn't help with, like, anything other than coastal because my wetlands are all coastal. That would just basically be the I want to pretend like I'm Serpent... Or not, it's not Serpent Bringer. I want to pretend like I'm Bringer again and just generate fear. But it costs 5 energy, and if I play it every turn, then I'm actually losing 2 energy per turn because I'm not doing the extra energy growth. And I don't have innate reclaim 1. It does help deal with the next Ravage, at least. Pretty sure, like, that Ravages, that's prevented, and that's prevented. And then they build D2 and D6, and then I throw sea monsters into D2, which kills 2 cities and generates 4 fear, plus we get 4 fear from the beasts. So that does get us to Terror level 2. D6, I guess. We could just prevent D6 instead, I guess. We have a Sacred Site there. If I don't play Stem the Flow, I don't need Sacred Sites this turn. And then what happens next turn? Next turn, I'm basically reclaiming again. And I won't be able to afford sea monsters that turn. Go away. Get out of there. I guess I'm playing Stem the Flow anyway. Yay! Who needs Sacred Sites? I guess I could let them build in D6 and then I do Stem the Flow and Creeper's Terror into D6. Do I still have a Sacred Site? Is this how much defend? Defend 4? It's not enough for D2. Oh yeah, I guess I defend that. Okay, so that's not blading. Okay. Buildings have +1 health. No! No! Rude! Uh-oh. That was the prey. That was the choose for me. There's like no way we have enough defend for D2 next turn. Yeah, it does save a Sacred Site. The Sacred Site is preserved now. This is checkmark. So I could prevent the build in D6 then, and then I could do Creeper's Terror and Stem the Flow with D2 to finish off the cities that now have 4 health. Thanks, guys. I'll throw it in D2 anyway. I'm just going to pretend like that's fine. Remove an explorer from an inland land. Oh, nice. I will remove that guy. I guess the thing that we kind of forget about cards like Proliferate is that it does let you reposition presence. So So while I said it does nothing at that point, it actually does let you reposition presence on the board, which means I can get presence into D5 and D8 more easily. Except I can't because I removed those cards. Whoops. I actually have Twilight Fog. Do I actually leave a city alive so I can strafe it? In which case I might be able to defend D2 next turn. Oh boy. Yeah, the plus health is really screwing me here, because if it wasn't for the plus health, I would easily be able to do this. They have 5 extra health there that I didn't account for at the start of this turn. So, I mean, definitely still kill 1 city, right? So I might as well do that. Towns have 3 health. I have a charge of Creeper's Tear and a charge of Stem the Flow, but I also have a Field's Choked. So I can push a town out. And then I can kill another town. And the city is strifed. This damages explorers too. Yeah, I think I strifed the city. And it does like push a Dawn out, but that's okay. There because the event could say, hey, remove blight from a land with 2 Dahan. I mean, I'm not getting to... Actually, if I'm not playing sea monsters next turn, I still get defend 4? I do. So this land's defended pending the event. So I could just prevent a city build here. Actually, does this push Dahan? Hold on. Does this push Dahan? It does. Okay. Never mind. Let's do it this way. This kills more stuff. And I shall reclaim. I'm gaining a minor this time. Sands, Wetlands, Blight removal. Only 1 blight on the board is in D4, which is Sands. Crawling Panthers to go with my sea monsters. We're not playing sea monsters this turn now. Swarming Wasps also goes with sea monsters, I suppose. Neither of them give green elements. We want moons and waters. Uncanny Melting's the best at that. On the other hand, Swarming Wasps is free, so whenever I claim next turn I can easily play sea monsters, but I'm only spending 1 energy, so I actually would still be able to do it next turn anyway. Kind of neglecting D5 and D8. I'm gonna go for elements. So Stem to Flow doesn't reach D8. Just so we're aware. It reaches D5, but I also can't really do anything in D5. I can push a town out and then do like Creeper's Terror on that town that got pushed. That's really the best I can do. Aided by fire. I have 0 fire. I do gain a minor power. And these beasts generate some fear. We are getting to terror level 2. That's good. In each land with Sacred Site and Invaders, either do 2 damage or destroy a presence from each spirit. So I think the presence is better. But Sacred Site's not doing really anything other than seize D1, which I don't need to see right now. Because these guys are already dead by the Ravage, and... I don't have fire, so I'd have to spend 3 energy, but if I'm spending 3 energy, then I'm not using sea monsters next turn. Also, I do get to group up the beasts in D2. Well, that's slightly better elements, isn't it? Defense 6, range 1 Sacred Site is pretty good. We have 3 cards that remove Blight. None of these give Moon. A lot of them give Water Plant. Which is pretty interesting. I mean, actually, no, all 4 of these remove Blight. Sorry, the Threshold here removes Blight as well. I was looking at the just remove on the base effect, but I'm just gonna take Nature's Resilience. That stops, like, the D1 Ravage and other things. Strife on land with Dahan. Invaders of Strife have -1 health. Well, that's a waste of a fear card. Defend 6 Knock Coastal lands. Well, that's also a waste of a fear card because we had defended D2. It's not even like I had other options there. Actually, would have been nice if I could Strife a guy in D5, but I couldn't have. Because if he was Strifed, then I could stem the flow. He'd be dead right now. Good thing they explored sand, so I got that fair, huh? So I don't have any Creeper's Terror target, but I can get it if I do Fields Choked. I could instead opt to push Dahan into D5 and defend it. Major problem with that is defend 6 isn't enough, but defend 6 plus 4 would be enough. It seems better than using Creeper's Tear. I confront the city in D7 as well. I think it matters. We'll assert dominance. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's... Yeah, let's do that first, because then I don't have to push Dahan. Oh! It's a way of killing a town, isn't it? Because I do have a Strife placement. Is there any advantage to strifing a city and then defending 6 instead of trying? Because, like, this is too much damage here as well. Like, it's 7 damage. can defend 6 there. But then I still need to defend 6 here, which this is not enough to defend. I mean, it's really just 5. I could get a minor power that helps. I'm still taking minors, right? I do have energy, but I'm saving it for sea monsters. I'm just wondering if it's better to kill the town in D7, doing Twilight Fog and Stem the Flow to prevent the city build. Yeah, because like I can't defend D5 and D8, right? So I just do that instead. This is 9 damage, so it's defended by 6 plus 4. Fire in the sky. It's not good elements. None of these are actually good elements. We're not getting any moons or waters. I am at the point where I could actually not reclaim next turn. I could just take another power card next turn and not reclaim and take +3 energy instead. So I guess the question is like, so what are the things you would want here? Water and animal. Unfortunately, my other animal card doesn't have water on it. And none of these animal cards have water on it either, so I'm not going to hit the threshold on sea monsters because of that. So... Absorb Corruption will do something. Not sure it's a useful something. Well, Bloodshed finishes off D5 at least. Assuming that I have enough stuff to do with that. I'm gonna do that one because it does combo with Fields Choked. Do you get the set aside power? What if I did it in D1 and pushed into D8? I would then not have enough defense. Unless I didn't take Call to Bloodshed, but I took the other thing. If I do that though, we win, right? Like, just, we need to have no cities on the board? Okay, that's better then. There's no blight on the board either. You know, I could have done it differently. I could have hit the thing. I know. You don't need to tell me, John. I know. I know. Oh wait, John's not here. That gives me defend 4. So I have defend 6, defend 4 for D5, and I have. I guess actually we don't. Oh, but we do because no cities, right? We're only 5 fear away from that, and we should get it. We should have enough fear, especially with fire in the sky. Oh, I didn't put the sacred site in the right place. Are you kidding me right now? Wait. Wait. Okay. I don't know where I put it that time, but oh. This is considering Bringer doing it? So they don't actually die, they just generate fear and push. Okay, cool. Cool. Alright. It's fine. It's like actually better. Add town to a land with Explore Town, doesn't matter. Disease to sands or mountains with buildings. So we can, well, we could put the disease in D5 already, or D8. Doesn't, we could put it in a spot to put the disease instead or something. So that doesn't matter. So do we want the disease D5 because it has Dahan? Push up to explore up to 3 explorer towns from an inland land. Make sure this is defended, I guess. Can't go back anyway. Skip the next normal build. Okay. Oh. I'll just double check I had enough defend, but it's fine. I guess theoretically with Stem the Flow, you would actually just prefer to do 1 damage to 2 towns there. But it doesn't matter because we won. $32 points, 7 surviving Dahan, 0 blight. So no additional Dahan, but you removed all the blight. And 32 is less than the previous game. Alright, set aside a power. Sea monsters. Leave a token of each type. Push Dahan. Thunder Speaker. So we could just go ham on D2 right away, I guess. Assuming that they choose to explore D2. I guess it's only like, we have to pick one in 2 different lands here. I'll hit D5 because if they explored mountains, then I'll just do something to kill the explorer anyway. But they explored sands again. Sands are the only lands that don't have Dahan. Surprise! Hmm. The usual turn one I would do would be Voice of Thunder and Manifestation. Sudden Ambush is unlikely to do much in this game. In doing that, I don't get Gather the Warriors. So I can only ever gather 2 Dahan into, say, D7. And 2 presents as well. I don't foresee a reason to do Metal Growth option here. What's a warning is Defend 4. Defend 3. If I were to not do, say, Manifestation... I guess the problem is, like, this... I would need 2 suns, 1 fire to destroy town. But I guess, actually, yeah, if it's a city-town explorer... Manifestation plus... this thingy. Lead the Furious. That would kill D7 entirely, and then D4 would be the only problem left, but that could just blight. There's an argument to be made that I could let both blight, I guess. Because, like, if I try to put out the Sands Fires, the problem is the next turn build is going to be brutal, and I don't have immediate solutions for it, especially if they choose to do jungle. Like, I could instead do, like, the same plan, except I kill a town in D5 with Lead the Furious, and I kill everything in D2 with, Manifestation. And that covers... that hedges my bets between Sands and Mountain. Makes Words of Warning next turn less good. I could choose not to play it. If I don't care about the sands, then I could also just not... Yeah. Like, if they choose to explore jungle next, for instance, like, I have 2 slow phases to deal with that, so I don't have to do Manifestation immediately. So I could do, like, a double presence growth, then. Like, if I'm just, like, completely deciding that these guys are just gonna do their sands thing like they want to do all the time, I could just, like, do double presence to get to 2 energy. I mean, like, it's not really, like, the plan I like to do too much, but if I accept that turn 1 is an off turn, I can get a better energy, sustain. So I don't have to do +4 energy as much, and then do double presence more frequently. I could also do Reclaim so I get 2 power cards. Which isn't putting presence on the board. But, like, Words of Warning and Sudden Ambush are not doing anything if I'm giving up on D4 and D7. Whereas if I take 2 power cards, then... like, I'm not doing much this turn, but I never was doing much this turn, and instead I see power cards that might help me decide how to deal with other things later. Let's do that to be entirely weird. Drought. That doesn't actually help with D7 or D4. It is cool though. Just give me a fire and sun. It does put blight on the board that we'd have to remove later. I'm instead gonna click on gnawing root biters, which is not really good elements, but called a migrate on the other hand. And I have not placed any presents. So it's like, what element did I get when I placed presents? Oh right, I didn't place presents. Interesting. So I could just play Gnawing Root Biters because none of my other cards are gonna hit any elemental thresholds. I guess an animal does let me gather and push maybe a Dahan. I could do Call to Migrate and I could gather 1, push 0. But also Call to Migrate gathers 3, pushes 3. I think Gnawing Root Biters, I could use that to push a town from wherever they explore. It's either wetlands, jungle, or mountain, and all 3 of those have like towns, so. And I can gather 0, push 0. Yay! This is the world's best turn 1. They chose death. So I can prevent the city build in D6. Come into D5, it's totally fine. And I'll gather into this land. Done. So now I'm gonna do Manifest in D2. Maybe with the same 2 cards I was going to use it with anyway. They're building a town, but with 4 Dahan and 2 presents, it's actually enough, and I could put extra presents if I need it. D6 could be prevented with Words of Warning, I guess. So I could do Words of Warning Manifestation. That still gives me Town Destroy, and it gives me Gather 2, Push 2, which does put stuff into D5, or into D2. I do need energy for that, so I do this one. So yeah, Blight, Blight, on the other hand, solved. Let's just throw it into where we're gonna manifest because we're evil people. I guess I can't do Words of Warning. I thought that was the one. It's Sudden Ambush. If I do Sudden Ambush, I don't get Town Destroy. Is that a problem? Like if I play these cards? It does stop a build, which is otherwise unlikely because of all the buildings that we start with. I probably don't need to destroy a town in like D5. I presume. Also, I'm moving a Dahan out anyway, so it's not happening. I'm gonna stay with D5. I have 2 heirs, and I can discard for that. Return the top 3 cards of the box. Buildings do +1 damage. Otherwise, we speed up the invaders, which is generally bad. And then wilds to a land with Dahan. That's totally fine. So, Yeah, we'll discard one of these. Probably Words of Warning because it's not going to be useful next turn, and then we reclaim. I guess it could have, like, hit the threshold on this, except Call to Migrate doesn't have a sun on it, so it doesn't work. Beast to a jungle without Blight, fear if invaders are present. Wilds to a land with Dahan. D8 is 50% to be explored, so I'll put it there. And they didn't explore mountains. If they never explore mountains, that wilds will actually be really valuable in game 2. Five, 7, 8. I only need 3 Dahan, 3 presents. Voice of Thunder and Call to Migrate don't work well next turn, do they? Huh. I don't have an immediate counter for D1 or D3. Whoops. Maybe I do reclaim. Because I don't have energy to play Manifestation. But if I do... Oh yeah, these cards that have fire on them don't have sun other than Manifestation. That's really rude. I played a game of Spirit Island with friends a couple weeks ago in person. They were amazed. Like, they had only played like one game of Spirit Island before, so they were familiar with the rules, but they weren't familiar with like effective gameplay or how like spirits effective essentially work, or you know what your goal is in games and stuff. So when I played as Thunder Speaker and I killed a city and a town on turn 1, everyone was like, holy crap. You can do that? That was possible? So yeah, the wetlands builds are definitely a problem though. And the problem is that my 2 plays right now don't hit any thresholds other than moving Dahan around. I guess I reclaim, and I can take a major and replace Gnawing Root Biters. It's kind of like, why am I taking a major at 2 energy? But I could play it after I take 4 energy next turn. So if I get like a fast major, I could play it next turn to help with one of the wetlands. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a minor major, just because, like, just in case this major sucks so much. Or this minor sucks so much. Fire in the Sky is beautiful, though. Fire in the Sky is everything that is beautiful. It was terrible for green. I took it anyway as green. Terrible elements for green, that is. It wasn't terrible for green. But it's beautiful for Thunder Speaker. Tigers hunting. We do have presence in jungle. Reason stones also. These aren't good elements for Thunder Speaker. But these are 2 energy majors, which, despite what I just said, we can use them. I guess I prefer tigers hunting because it gives an animal. I do have a lot of animal cards, but I'm probably forgetting non-group fighters. If I do tigers hunting fast, it adds and gathers and damages. It's, you know, it's called the Fang's innate power, but unlike Fang's innate power, it adds a beast. Which means that it has extra innate growth. The main problem is that it doesn't actually stop a build, but it does stop a wetland. Or sorry, it stops a city. Tigers is bigger fangs. This is basically the beta art for sharp fangs. Or something, I don't know. Let's do that one. Unfortunately, if I do this, I don't get town destroy. That's the law. Not sure how effective town destroy is, but if I do like put a defend into a land, next turn that is, like if I play Words of Warning is the one? If I do Words of Warning next turn, defend 3. But if I kill a town in the land that I push Dahan into, the defend 3 is enough pending the event. So I need to play 2 suns and 1 fire. Annoyingly, my only sun fire card is Fire in the Sky, and I don't want to play that right now. I mean, I guess the weird thing is, like, I can strife the town, push Dahan in there, and then defend 3 would be enough. But it's like, at that point, I don't need the town destroy. Well, let's at least put check marks in these lands because they're dealt with. Yay! Bum 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 bum. If only I had 3 card plays. If only I had 3 card plays. Weird. I guess I accept that I'm not going to be able to hit the 2 suns, 1 fire. And one of these lands is then just going to blight because I don't have like a manifestation I can play this turn anyway. Let's do Tigers Hunting for D3. So I kill the town, they build a replacement town, but that would be defended. If I were to strife the city in D1 next turn. Fire in the Sky and Words of Warning would be enough to defend. So I could actually voice the Thunder into D1. I do get Gather 1, push 2. It's a weird number. Probably is actually fine. Inland land replaced Explorer with Town, doesn't do much. Invaders do not ravage in lands with disease. Strife doesn't do anything. Each player may push and explore a town from a land with Dahan. Okay, so that stops this build. So then I just focus all my efforts over in D1 instead, and that's good. Inland Explorer, both these lands are basically the same. I'll do this one. Yeah. Actually, you can just go into D2 and you die. Move an Explorer town from a land with beasts, or an Explorer from a land adjacent to beasts. Wow, so I converted that explorer, and he then proceeded to survive. Brilliant. Each town destroys an explorer. Each city destroys 2 explorers. Yeah, that explorer that converted into a town got super saved. that guy got super saved. Coastal. Interesting. So obviously defending D1's Ravage is prudent right now. And also D3, which actually takes care of itself right now, so that's fine. So that's good then. Also there's a check mark in D0 for some reason. Or is it... wait. That was actually D2, but it moved into the ocean somehow. I'll also put a check mark in D0 for good measure. Okay, this isn't quite check marked though, but it's not really that scary. Let's just keep an eye on that. But yeah, if I set up for what I was doing for next turn with Fire in the Sky and Words of Warning, we just need 3 Dahan in there. We're not getting the 3 card plays, right? Because I don't have enough energy to play both Fire in the Sky and Words of Warning, so I need to take +4 energy. Unless I do middle growth option and I just take this for 2 energy next turn. Which, I don't know, I keep like thinking I want to do that someday to get the +2 energy for better sustain, but then like +4 energy just pays itself off more. Like, ugh. Thunder Speaker's energy track is so hard to use. It even caps at 3. 3! It's more just for elements, really. It's not the energy track, it's the elements track. So I guess I'm doing +4 energy next turn so that I do 2 cards this turn and then 3 cards the next turn by doing +4 energy again. And that gives me a sudden ambush on the coastal Ravage for potentially D2. And they call it a Migrate and Manifestation that combo together. That's pretty good. The only thing that screws that up is if they do the Jeff Dugan event, which I guess hits D6. Not like I can really do much with that D6 Dahan right now. If they do +1 damage when ravaging, then D3 Blights, but I could put an extra Dahan in there. But then my presence goes in there anyway, and I don't want that. I don't really want to be near that land if it's ravaging and blading. We need at least 3 Dahan in D1, maybe 4 in case they do stupid shit like invaders have +1 health. It's really just a question of where do I want the Dahan to go. We need to leave something in D2, do we? I mean, no, nothing's happening in D2, and I guess the problem is we don't have Dahan after Fire in the Sky and Words of Warning, but we do get Gather 2, Push 2, so actually it's not that big of a deal. And we get a Town Destroy, so we can kill the town in D2 and we don't need to defend it. Which is good, because I can't defend it. So... I guess I'm just going to assume that the D3 Dahan kills the Explorer and that they don't have plus damage. In which case I'm going to push everything out of D2. Come on. Come on. Come on. Got the Dahan army. I don't really need my presence in D1. But I also don't need my presence anywhere else. From a build, for one terrain not shown, each beast deals 2 damage. Alright, all the builds are prevented now. Cool. Add Dahan to a mountains or sands with Dahan. Well, that's unfortunate. Form a build step for one terrain not shown. Jungles are going to be the best, unless they explore jungles. Actually, I guess jungles or wetlands. Yeah, they're both going to be empty, so that's fine. Do I lose this beast? Sure. Gives me a fear card. Gather and explore a town into a coastal land. Defend 2 in all coastal lands. We have more than enough damage for D1, right? 5 Dahan, 6 health, 10 damage. So I shall gather that Sands guy as well. Alright, they chose mountains. So now my sudden ambush. Well, I guess sudden ambush wasn't really doing that much anyway. You can build in jungle. Awesome. So this is gather 2, push 2. I can just gather the singleton, I guess, so he's no longer a singleton. And you're gonna stay there. Wreck face here. It is diseased. I don't actually have 2 suns. Okay, manifestation in D5 kills the things. Actually, I don't need that, do I? So I just won't play it. I'll save energy. Definitely want 3 card plays for next turn. But sudden ambush for 2 energy when it's not giving any elements or any utility. It was going to give utility based on where they explored, but they explored mountains, which is the best. And it's not hitting the threshold for Lead the Furious Assault. Disease will land with city, 2 fear per player. Cities do +3 damage. Well, I can't actually afford this because I didn't play sudden ambush. Yay! Definitely don't want to ignore contact. Wish this had sun, but the whole thing was it didn't have sun, so I chose not to play it. But I rather forget a sun card and preserve my energy. Those are all fine. Words of Warning is probably not as good anymore. The game's like almost over. It's just 2 cities that we basically have to kill. Yeah, we're almost at Terra level 3. 2 cities that we have to kill. And maybe want to remove Blight because they're going to explore sands again because RNG. Yeah, I don't need Voice of Thunder. If I could just hit my innate... I mean, actually, when I have, like, Call to Migrate, that's better than Voice of Thunder, right? Other than the fact that it's cheap. It's free, rather. That one. We're gonna explore a town from a land with presence. Well, I want the town there. I guess hypothetically we could have left the town. We could have removed the town, left the explorer there, and done manifestation in like D7 or something. I guess we could actually just Yeah, still do manifestation in D7 anyway. Because we can just either fire in the sky or words of warning for D5. This is gather 2, push 1. I only need 4 damage in there, so that's fine. Missionaries sure do like arriving at this island, right? Okay. I would probably rather do words of warning in D5. And then do fire in the sky in D4, strife the city, and then just hope to get blight cards on my next 2 draws. Blight removal cards, that is, not blight cards. This is gather 3. Push 3. So the game is over in 2 turns unless something bad happens. So I'm probably just going to reclaim and gain 2 power cards. Twice. I want blight removal really badly. None of these say blight removal. Uncle Sans blight removal, that's actually perfect. I don't have 3 plant though. That works for me. You have Sacred Site visibility to both sands. So we gotta do also the things that don't make us lose. So defend 3 in D5, fire in the sky in D4. Each town does +1 damage. Defend 3 still good. Beasts don't care. No jungle or wetland with Dahan. Whoops. We just moved everyone out of D1. My bad. Explore does not affect coastal lands. Invaders do not act in lands with disease. Cool. We preserve the disease in D4 now. I want the ravages to happen. Don't ravage in D6. So explore does not affect coastal lands. Nor do they explore anywhere? Right, cool. Cool. That's exciting. I guess the major problem is the fact that I can only do Renewing Rain once. Unless I find the do a slow power fast thing. Do I want Dahan to be somewhere else for... Whatever. Well, leave them there. I could set it up for the next game, but... I don't know if it matters. After Thunderspeaker, Dahan are just there. Fast blight removal? Make a slow power fast? No. Blight removal? No. Rude. I did my best. Sure hope I don't die. Set aside power doesn't do anything either. We're moving beasts around, I guess. Oh, did it say invaders do not ravage in lands with strife? Nope. Sure, if it did say that, then the game wasn't over. But they also weren't building wetlands, so... You know... They weren't... There was nothing happening. Alright. 32 points, 8 Dahan, 1 Blight, plus 1 Dahan, plus 1 Blight is what happened there. Set aside 1 power card. It's gonna be manifestation. I think the rule is that we pretend there's a sacred site in the land that you manifest. And you guys can go into D2. We now have... Wow, Wildfire doesn't want to show up. Okay. We have Shadows. And they're going to explore Sands. I knew it! I'm starting to think it's a bug, but I know. I said this to John last time, and he said, no, it didn't do Sands that time. I mean, it's a 1 in 4 that it's Sands each time, right? And it's only been, like, 4 games. It's a 1 in 256 chance. That's like a not 0.0, it's, what is it? 128 would be like 0.05625 or something, so it's like a 0.025. I don't know. Actually, I keep saying 0.0%. I don't know how to math. 1 divided by 256. It's a 0.39% chance is what it is. There are things that happen 0.39% of the time. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Yeah, so notice that they're going into lands with Dahan. All right, so next turn we're gonna Concealing Shadows or one of those Sands Ravages, I suppose. The annoying thing is that like D4 is a terrible spot. Unfortunately, I don't really have a means of mitigating that. So, do you get the 2 cards with your first one? You do, okay. If I grow into D4... The chance that out of 10 plus spirits getting a singular type of land 4 times in a row at least once is far more common than just 1 divided by 4 to 4. Yes. I don't remember what the first 6 explores were, though, is the thing. We started on wave 7 today, because waves 1 through 6 were on Monday. So, like, all I can tell you is out of the past 4 explorers, they were Sands. And it's still the same 1 divided by 4 to the 4 probability for it being 4 consecutive Sands explorers. Certainly it changes if I played the first 6 waves and I had like jungle, wetlands, jungle, mountain, jungle, wetlands, and then sand, 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 sands. That would not be 1 divided by 4 to the 4 at that point, for sure. Like if you're just asking what's the probability that 4 of the 10 is Sands. Anyway, I'm not gonna be too fussed about it. It is what it is. It does make it really annoying because I've been starting to just let them blight the Sands so I could focus on other lands, but the problem is if they always start in the Sands and that land has blight because I just have blight there from the previous game, then I get an immediate cascade. So... yeah, I could try to do something with like Crops Wither and Mantle of Dread to push Explorer Town. Or I guess, oh yeah, D4 is diseased. So I could prevent that Ravage then. I don't need Crops Wither for that. I can do Favors Called Due and Mantle of Dread. So I can get the Dahan into D7. And then Concealing Shadows it to kill everything in that land. And it will still blight, but it kills the city. The major problem with that is that I don't have any defense for the next Explorer. It does actually line up that I then get to gather and explore, but that doesn't really do anything. My normal kind of approach is to get the 3 card plays next turn and to gain a power card, but I need the energy. I need the energy to be able to target D7 with Concealing Shadows. Alternatively, I can put a presence in there and let it blight, but then I have, like, energy for the next turn either. It seems stupid, but, like, this doesn't really do much with all the towns, right? So it still generates fear, and, like, 2 fear with 1 player is still half a fear card. But right now it's not doing that much. Like, I would rather just get this guy to stay in D7 because he dies. So, like, there's no reason to do that. The D4 guy I could theoretically push anywhere, but Mantle Dread already does that, so... Let's see where they explore first and then make our decisions. So they did wetlands. I'll push you into danger jungle. Favors call due. This is push or gather. It's gather. Dahan outnumber, so we get the fear. So we have a fear card. That's good news. This is a spirit you're not super confident on. Shadows is better than most people give him credit for. Like, he generates fear. Like, he's the second best fear spirit next to Bringer. But what a lot of people just have issues with is the fact that he can't deal with towns or cities that well immediately. And it's definitely bad at wave 10 to have Shadows. I will not lie to you there. But at the same time, Shadows lets this Ravage happen and kill everything. So, like, it's not terrible to do that. Do I go to 3 card plays? I do this. Do I go to 3 card plays for next turn, or do I get energy sustain? I get a power card when I reclaim. So I could do 3 card plays and hope to get, like, something useful. But if I could do 3 card plays next turn, I'd also want to do 3 card plays the next turn. My cards cost how much energy? 3 total? I have to spend an additional 1 to target D7. And then there's the whole, like, wetland business that's happening that I can't do anything about. Concealing Shadows doesn't help with those next turn. Putting presence in there to convert a city doesn't do anything because that's still 2 towns and an explorer. I mean, theoretically, I can gather an explorer out with my innate and then convert a city to a town, and then we have 2 towns instead of 2 towns and an explorer, but that still doesn't do anything. I would need to get a power card that defends, but I don't think there's a difference between 4 and 5 as far as defends go. Here's where someone's like, logic, the difference is 1. 5 minus 4 is 1. Logic! Logic! Yeah, I'll do 3 card plays. Let's do it in D2. We'll convert those buildings, I guess. Bum. Bum, bum, bum. I don't know, maybe there's an event that says push a town. No, I don't want to do that. Do it. Here. Push a town from an inland. Or from a coastal. I don't know. Gather a town into a coastal. An additional explorer. Not ravage and lands with disease strife. Push 2 Dahan from a land with city to a land without city. Okay, so we still keep the Dahan in there, which we want. So we actually can then Concealing Shadows next turn because we're pushing Dahan. Does it make sense to do Crops Wither then on like D1 or D3? I'm gonna push these guys into D1. By Concealing Shadows the city. It actually would be enough to wipe that board. Or land, rather. Add strife in a land with or adjacent to beasts. Huh. Huh. What does that do for me? I guess if I get a defend power, makes it easier to D1, does it? I don't know. I don't think there are many defend powers that say defend 2. There's one that says defend 2 in all of your lands, but I'm not in D1. There's some that say defend 1. There's one that says defend 2, but I think that's range 0, like defend 2, kill an explorer, add a wilds or something. I think it's range 0. But it is a land with Dahan, so I could target it. I mean, the problem is if I'm doing Crops Wither on D1 to convert the city to a town, the 2 Dahan killed the 2 towns, of course, but I'm spending an energy to do Crops Wither, and I'm spending an energy to do Concealing Shadows. So I'd have to take 2 cards that are free. Actually, I don't even have 2 cards that are free. I don't even have one other card that's free. Could like hit the city in D2, except that was going to be my Crops Wither target. But if they do build in D2 and I convert the city to a town, then they build a city anyway. So I guess it makes sense to do on the city then. Also, hold on. One of the things was they don't ravage in lands with blight. Does that do anything? No, because I can't hit D7. Okay, so we just do that. Mountains. I was gonna say, all right, we finally found a turn where my gather makes sense, except they did an additional explorer from the event, and so I now can't through D8. No. Actually, no, I still can. I just need to, but I can't because Throne of Secret. Frick. Okay. That's really weird then. Well, let's see. Let's do this then, because that's the more immediate thing that's happening, I suppose, than anything else. D1 will Concealing Shadows, and then I can play a card that costs 1 energy, so I have to take a power that's free here. Hi there, Be Monsters. You're free. Ooh, but Entrancing Apparitions actually helps with D8. The problem is if I do Entrancing Apparitions, then my Concealing Shadows is my only other play, but I guess I don't need anything else. I need Hope for D5. Dark Entangled Woods also helps with D8, I suppose. And that is technically... Isn't that technically a Shadows card? Because in the progression deck, Dark Entangled Woods is like the first power card that you find. So to justify the Jungle Hungers, that's the 3rd card in the power progression deck, which otherwise is not actually Shadow's Elements, but more just because the first power card on the list had a plant on it, which is rude. I mean, 3 of these cards have moon on them. None of them have fire. 2 of them have air, in the event that we so decide that we can hit the super threshold someday. Here, there be monsters is range 0. Entrancing Apparitions, as we said, does hit D7. So if I do Concealing Shadows and Entrancing Apparitions, there's 0 fire there, so I don't get the gather otherwise. If I take Dark Entangled Woods, but I save it for next turn, and I can defend D8 or D5 a little more easily as the result. But again, the problem was I wanted a card that was free. Here There Be Monsters does push a town out of D5 at least. But it doesn't really, like, do that much for me. It does give 2 fear. Okay, 2 fear is half a fear card. I'll do that one. Basically, the way that we survive this game is we generate enough fear to win the game before we lose the board. And then we have to figure out the blight situation next game. We are getting the blight card. So that's fun. I'll save the fire for next turn. We'll do the middle growth and hope to get fire again. Oh no, but I'm not gonna have enough energy to Crop Wither and Mantle Dread next turn. Frick. Okay, so does it make sense to do Favor Skull Do? I could like try to get Dahan in D5. Which they would outnumber. After we do Here There Be Monsters. Would it? No, it wouldn't outnumber. It pushes 1. Maybe do Mantle Dread instead. Let's gather an Explorer, I guess. Yeah, we're getting Wildfire. It's a 50% chance we have Wildfire next game anyway. Oh. Oh, right, I can't do that because I needed to play Here There Be Monster. So the question is, what card goes alongside these? Right. If I even want it. It's gonna be this still, right? Okay, yeah, so I have to do that so I have energy for this. We do get 2 fear cards at Terra level 2. And yeah, take one of those guys out. D8 will just be D8, I suppose. Aided by Moon. Guess I'm reclaiming next turn. Not good at +0 energy though, huh? Really bad at +0 energy. Do I have 2 Dahan on my lens? I do. Okay, we get +1 energy back. That's fine then. Except for the fact that I still... Ugh. Ugh. Add disease to a land with both Dahan and invaders. I hate that one so much. It's definitely going into D4. Like, I have to discard or forget a card to do this. I mean, I guess theoretically I can forget Here There Be Monsters because it wasn't actually that exciting. Unless... no. The minor power I'm getting isn't going to do anything. Or, like... So we're definitely getting a minor power because we're blighting down, unless these fear cards say defend or something. But I guess the plan was this gives me 2 fear. Oh, man. I don't want to discard because then I have to reclaim, and if I reclaim, I'm at 0+0 next turn, which is basically as bad as not reclaiming. I mean, okay, so I reclaim with 0+0, or I don't reclaim and I play 1 power, is what that means. Which is not good for, like, I can't defend D5 or D8. I suppose, like, I could theoretically gain a power card and place a presence and get to +1 energy and hope that that is a defend card. Hope and pray. I will have +1 energy off of this. So, like, if I do that, I will have 2 energy next turn at the very least. So, like, I would be able to play any power card I would take if it's a minor power, but I would be definitely hoping and praying for... I guess no, I don't need the defend for D5. I guess I'm getting the minor power anyway from the thing. So I guess I could discard one of my powers here then. Okay. Which one? Crops Wither? Let's save the fire so that I can maybe get this threshold next turn. This doesn't have towns. I can't put beasts in it, so I generate more fear. I find that exceptionally rude. Go into my land, I guess, so I could do Here There Be Monsters in D6 instead. Go there. And then do not build in lands where Dahan outnumber buildings, not relevant. Remove up to 3 health of invaders from a land with disease, or an explorer from an inland land. It's also not really doing that much. Here there be monsters pushes 1, Mantle of Dread pushes an explorer in a town. So if I move one of these guys out, then I don't need a defend, or not even a defend, just, I don't know. Defend for D8 is really all that I want or something. I don't know. Let us blight the island. I could replace it, but I'm gonna keep it. Ah, Steam Vents. Awesome. These are terrible cards. This doesn't have Moon. None of these have Moon. This does give me fire and air, which means I can hit this threshold a little more easily, but like this, ugh. Ugh. Not what we wanted. This is blight removal from mountains, wetlands, which that is happening. I'm taking Teeming Rivers because the blight is important. Like, I could take the thing for elements, but it wasn't even that helpful elements. At least we now have a means of removing blight per turn, I suppose. So Teeming Rivers, the Explored Coastal, the Ravaging Mountains. This only affects mountains and wetlands. So I don't know, this looks terrible. They're both gonna be removed next turn anyway. I have no idea how we deal with the coast. We'll worry about that in the future. Why am I at 0 energy? Oh, because... Oh... I killed the Dahan that was going to give me energy. But still, I wouldn't have put the disease there because I wanted to kill the city. Of course, if I knew then what I know now, I might have put the disease there, but I'm not sure if that would have influenced my decision. I had 2 options. I chose the one that probably wasn't that good. Okay. Okay. I have 1 energy this turn. 1. 1! I don't have high hopes for this game at this point. Where are we at fear? 5 away from next terror level. Defend 1 doesn't do enough. None of these give Moon. Is it even worth playing a card here? Like, do I just hold my energy for next turn because I'm not doing enough? Evie. I mean, the good news is the coast can now just blight and be totally fine. Sort of. I mean, I guess I'm playing Crops Wither to kill its city in D2. And I will assert dominance. Well, we are getting fear. Yeah, if the defend is enough, which there's nothing in the land, so it's not gonna be like Dahan defense will be good enough. Mountains or sands with Dahan. That one. Choose a land with Dahan or adjacent to at least 3 Dahan. Hey, fear card, thank you. Alright, we saved. We've explored town from a land with beasts or adjacent to beasts. There are none. None, because we killed all the beasts. Of course, the defend one actually didn't matter, but I took the card because it was free and I didn't really have anything else to pick that would have helped tremendously. It's okay. Hey, they're going mountains again. Yay. Don't do coastal things, I guess, because coastal things are terrible already. So is this defend enough for D2? Did it say, like, defend 4 in jungle? It did. Alright, we have enough defend for D2. Yay! Making progress. Visions of Fiery Dome, except... I guess I can play it alongside Drift Down, huh? Just make that make a difference. Generates 2 fear. Zhroop. Zhroop. Yay! If that makes sense. Play that one. Play that one. I don't actually get enough fire for that fear, though. I do that one. Cool. There are different ways I can prevent the build in D5. None of which really matter. I will defend that one. I guess I can gather an explorer out of D2. Which you can go into that land. And you can push out of this land. All we have to do is to kill all the cities on the board and we win. Yay! Add blight to an inland land to prevent this by destroying 3 presents. Okay. Well, I guess mountains could have the blight. Do not ravage in lands with strife disease. Okay, push explorer town from a land with Dahan. Don't really do that much. We can just put the blight. It's not really gonna make a difference. Maybe a fear card says defend in a land with Dahan. Oh no, not there, not there. That was bad. I'll go there. Oh, they don't ravage in lands of strife? They don't? Oh, true. Then they can just go into D2. That's fine. Get the next normal explorer, but still reveal a card shift. Well, it doesn't really help, does it? Whoop. There's no beasts on the board anymore. Go into the danger wetlands. Yay. But now I can't actually get to 3 energy per turn, and now energy is much less of a problem. How many fear are we from? I mean, my cards do generate a lot of fear. Take a minor. I'm gonna keep digging for a card that says something helpful. Voracious growth, jungle wetlands. If I play like these cards, I get to destroy up to 2 explorers, which generates 2 fear. And if pots and embers, let's put more blight on the island, because why not? It's not like I lose the game if the mountains ravage happens. It's not like that's happening. So I'm gonna click on this one because I can't really play Hand of Haunts and Embers. I'm gonna assume D2 is fine, right? D2's fine. Add blight to a land adjacent to a land with blight. Well, we would lose the game. There's no beasts on the board. Dahan 2. Inland land with Dahan. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's gonna have to be blight removal because I don't have any other means of mitigating it. So let's... Sacred Site's not doing anything right now, and they're not exploring jungles. Inland land with Dahan, one of these 2. Go to this one. It has stuff. Choose a different land. Gather up to 2 Dahan, 1 damage per Dahan present. So, like, one of the big differences between John and I that I've noticed, other than the fact that John is much smarter than I am, is that when John is in a situation where the game's almost, like, lost, he works really hard at figuring out how to survive. But when the game is basically won, he stops caring and he just clicks whatever. I'm the complete opposite for some reason. When I'm winning, I win harder. But when I'm losing, I just give up. Right, so lands I can't do anything about. This land is whatever. I'll do this land. I can push. Just like, I don't know, super wetlands time. The 2 of us must be a perfect match. The 2 of our forces combined is what enables us to make a lot of grievances with each other. We cannot outnumber Dahan and D2 because there's only 1 in there. I find that exceptionally rude. You only need... Oh, we win. Okay, let's just win, I guess. I, as the dumbest of the regular hosts of Spirit Island, just make the game harder for you both. Alright, we successfully won the game with Shadows. With 28 points and 4 Blight on the island. It seemed like there was more Blight on the island, but okay. 7 Dahan survived. And let's see what we have in store for us. I could have, like, postponed the victory a little bit, I guess, but nah. Like, what was Ravaging next turn? Cool. Yeah, D2, I guess we had Defend for. We could have waited a bit. Try to remove one of the Blights from these lands, but... I just got texted that we have food, so I kind of want to wrap things up. But I'm probably not going to wrap things up quickly enough. Let's, So, like, the card that is super valuable is actually Concealing Shadows. Very little Blight remains in the Blight card. If it flips during the next wave, the island will be lost. That's because we have to leave all the Blight on the board. It's okay, though, because they're going to explore Sands and we lose in, like, the next turn. Is it Wildfire? It is Wildfire. Cool. Wildfire has set up shop in D7, and they have explored the one time I wanted them to explore Sands! Okay, so there isn't a bug, by the way, because they didn't explore Sands, but also there isn't a bug, which means we lost the game. I wanted you to go to Sands! Sands was best! Okay, well. Yeah, so the note about how we lose the game with the Blight card flips is because... Hey. We're supposed to be 3 Blight on the Blight card. We have 2 Blight per player plus 1 on it. It says 2. John? But if it puts the Blighted, ignore the amount of Blight printed on the Blighted side. Instead, use the Blight sitting here from the first game. But there's 0 Blight on here because we didn't have enough Blight left over. Oh, I guess though, never mind. I understand what's going on now. It's not John. It's that there was only 2 Blight on the card when we flipped, so we left the 2 that was on there. Sorry. Carry on. But still, we only left 2 on the card and there's 0 on the other side. So we're basically like still on the same state as we were when the game... We're still in the same state that we were at the end of the last game, basically. Except we put 2 extra Blight into D7, so that's cool. We have more Blight in the game now. Cool. How the hell do we not die to this Ravage? You have to stop at least one of them. Major problem is that neither of these lands are blighted, of course. But also, when I place a presence, I only deal 1 damage. And I can't do any more damage than that. This requires Blight and Invaders. This requires Blight. This does 1 damage. This destroys a town. But there's a bit of a problem here. Like, there's 2 options. One is I take a power card to see if there's something that helps with it. Like, if there's a defend card in there, then the game doesn't end. I prefer to know that now versus take energy and then not know what I'm doing. I don't know that, like, there's really an option that makes sense, though. Like, I can grow into D4, I guess, and then kill the town. That's really the only thing I can do. Because I can't kill anything else. Yeah, this is where Wildfire kind of flounders, because ordinarily, like, Wildfire just stops a build by putting presence into it, but both of these lands have buildings in them, and neither of them are blighted. Wetlands Explore would have actually been a lot better, because I could have killed the town and the wetlands in D1. Mountain Explore would have been okay, because I could have stopped the Explorer in D8, but Jungle was like the worst one. I guess also Sands would have been bad in the end, but at least I'm already in a blighted land. Alright, so with 0 energy, I will take a minor power. Theoretically, it could be major, but... Gather a town actually does enough. except there is not an empty land. Oh my god. Lair of the Unknown is the perfect card, and it's also not helpful. Actually, is it still helpful? Yeah, I can kill the town in D4. Okay, yeah, that works fine. Never mind, I lied. Problem's not immediately averted, but push the Dahan. This is optional. Thing is, though, it doesn't stop the build. I would still need to figure out how to deal with that next turn, and I don't have a solution yet. But putting the Dahan in D6 doesn't actually help. We have stopped the city in D6. So now the next problem, how do I stop the D6 Ravage? I mean, we're just like we're drowning. We're drowning so hard right now. Because like this is always blading. There's no way that doesn't blade. Like there's an argument that I could have taken a major power, but like there's no way I can afford the major power. Ever. I mean, I guess I could have had 3 energy this turn. Or we'll have 3 energy this turn. So, like, theoretically, I could have found a major that was 3 energy and would have solved D6. Problem with that is that, like, solving D6 doesn't actually save us. It, like, postpones the inevitable, right? Like, I think it's, like, the game was just lost no matter what, right? Like... It's an interesting thought experiment, I guess, is like, is there a combination of minor powers, minor power draws, major power draws, and explorer actions and events and whatnot that would have been winnable? Because ordinarily, like, you would say, yeah, in a given game of Spirit Island, there's always a way to win. But given that this is wave 11, and there was 2 blight on the card and 0 on the flip side... Is there any way that we can get out of this? Because, like, okay, let's go with the assumption that this is solved, okay? So that jungle is done. What the heck is going on over here? Okay. Like, hypothetically, I can take out that explorer if I can still deal with the town in D6. But they're still building a city in D5. And there will be only 1 blight left over. If I can somehow finagle a way to stop the Ravage in D6, stop the build in D8, and remove a blight, then the blight in D5 would be fine, right? How does that work, though? If I had enough energy to play both Flash Fires and Asphyxiating Smoke, that actually wouldn't work either. This power is not fast. I would need Flame's Fury and Flash Fires and another air, so I need 3 card plays. That's not happening. This doesn't have Blight, so Threatening Flames doesn't work. This is always slow, so that doesn't work. So what I'm gonna need is a power that is range 1 and deals damage fast. And also is free. I think that's the only way out, so I'm doing that, and I don't care. Defend 5 at range 1 would have worked, but I don't have the energy now. I guess I could just grow into the land and defend 5. Alright, so we don't die. Yay! Yay! It's like the only way that I don't die this turn. Okay, so now we have the same problem, except now it's 2 lands. Two lands. Just gonna keep clicking this. Well, none of these solve both lands. None of these even solve D5. Remove a blight from a land with Dawn. Ooh. There. Defend 1. Yay! I got high-fived in the water. We will flip the blight card. Yay! Oh, I can just replace this. Oh, what happens if I replace it? I don't know. I'm gonna keep it. I will go down in flames. The blight pillows run out. I actually don't know what happens if you replace the blight card, because technically you're not supposed to. Like, you can replace the blight card in a single player game if it only gives you 2 blight. But what happens if you do it in second wave? And the blight is when the blight on the card is not the stated thing. Missed beta testing opportunity. Yeah. Hey, I got 2 points. Yay! 2 points. Yeah, so we got to wave 11. So maybe if I wasn't as sloppy in the end, there was a way of salvaging that. Maybe John would have been able to finagle it, because John loves Wildfire more than I do. Wildfire's good, but I'm always uncomfortable with it. But that's okay. I think mainly we just got screwed by... I want to blame the sands on this one. This was the most painful sands ravage, I think. Was it? I don't even remember if that was that most painful, but... I guess there was... So again, I guess what I could have done, and I said this after the game, was I could have removed a blight and still won the game. I could have postponed another round because the build wasn't going to be an issue or something. The ravage was not doing anything, the build wasn't an issue for the win. I just kind of rushed it. So there could have been another blight on the blight card, and if there was one more blight, the game would have lasted one more turn here, at least. So, it's possible that the game could have been won. When there's 3 blight on the card versus 2, you know, you at least have 50% more blight, which means you have a little more wiggle room. In this game, I had 0 wiggle room. But there's probably a way of winning it. I just kind of rashly decided that it was unwinnable. Which is not really the correct approach, but I don't know. John is the more experienced second wave person than me. I play this occasionally. Between Monday and today, I've spent 6 hours on this. So if I had continued off of Dolphin's Dive doing the future waves, it would have been a 6-hour stream. I don't know. I think, like, technically, like, the way you're supposed to do this, and what I did not do correctly, was you're supposed to do Wildfire early so that you don't run into this kind of scenario. But I don't think the issue was really Wildfire so much. Like, we'd never actually placed Wildfire Blight. Like, we didn't actually, like, do the place a presence and place Blight option, because we'd never got the second fire. It would have been problematic if the game did go, like, one more round, I guess, because I wouldn't have been able to grow. But, I don't know. There's a lot of theory crafting and stuff, but, like, how should you do this? Do Wildfire first, so there's more blight on the island, which means that there'll be more blight on the card or something. Do the spirits that need the island to not be blighted early so that they're not screwed when you start a game and they can't do anything. Like, you don't want to do Serpent when every land is blighted because Serpent can't then do anything. Keeper also struggles. Fang struggles. Save the super strong spirits for last. Like, Thunder Speaker as the last spirit is probably the one that would be able to finagle a win. Like, Thunder Speaker can definitely just, like, put 1,000,000 Dahan into a land and wipe that land and stop it from blading and stuff. Anyway, I'm definitely done for today. It's been 3 hours. I'm not going to do any more games here. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay. This was Spirit Island Saturdays, as hosted by Logic Dolphin. Hopefully next week we'll have our usual crew back. But until then, you can check out the other channels we have on the stream. Other streams they have on this channel. I can never figure out how I'm supposed to say that. Every Sunday at 6 p.m. is Tales from the Archive with another letdown. Every Monday at 7 p.m. is Dolphins Dive with yours truly. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. is Handelabra Live with John. And every Friday at 4 p.m. is Luck of the Seamus with Seamus the Hug Monster. Handelabra products include Sentinels of the Multiverse, Bottom of the Ninth, One Deck Dungeon, Aeon's End, and Spirit Island. They're all available on Steam, iOS, and Android devices. One Deck Dungeon is also available on Switch. I do believe there's a Steam summer sale going on or something, and I do believe that Handelabra products are discounted, so if you haven't procured all of them yet, or at least the DLCs for all of them, then you can go look into those now. Those will have been discounted, maybe not explicitly discounted, because I'm sure there's like some... I believe John always mentions that, like, technically you're not allowed to run a sale on iOS. That doesn't matter for Steam, though, does it? But usually when they do a Steam sale, they also do a corresponding iOS sale. But they can't call it a sale explicitly. But what they do is they temporarily lower the price of the product, which is what a sale is, just not stated as such. I don't know. But anyway, those are certainly discounted. Go check those out if you so want. Follow us at twitch.tv/HandelabraGames if you haven't already, or Handelabra on YouTube if you want to watch our past broadcasts. Follow me personally at twitch.tv/LogicDolphin, or Logic Dolphin pretty much anywhere, YouTube, Discord, Twitter. that's all I really have to say. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.